Hello friends, today we will discuss mechanical technical interview questions and we know interview is the key role for any selection criteria. So friends, today we will discuss on that type of questions and answer, and this is very important for interview. So let's we start now. First questions, what will happen when we use petrol in diesel engine? So interviewer asks what will happen when we use petrol in diesel engine. So if we use petrol in diesel engine, there would not be smooth combustion and rather detonation that may lead to engine damage. So friends, when we use petrol in diesel engine, there would not be smooth combustion and detonation that may lead to engine damage. Second, what will happen? What will happen if we use diesel in petrol engine? So when we use diesel in petrol engine, it will ignite negligibly. So remember, it will ignite negligibly. It will choke engines, combustion chambers and leave smoky exhaust. So remember it. Okay, which one is more efficient? So interviewer asks just like which one is more efficient, 4-stroke or 2-stroke. So in terms of power and torque produce, 2-stroke engine are more efficient than 4-stroke engines, as it produce the same power as that by 4-stroke engine. So when if their size are same in half a time. When in terms of fuel consumption, 2-stroke engine are less efficient. So you all know 2-stroke engine are less efficient in comparison fuel consumptions than 4-stroke engine. 2-stroke engine exhaust more pollutant than 4-stroke engines. So remember, and this is very important questions. So we have to remember what is the difference and which one is more efficient, 4-stroke and 2-stroke. So first of all, in terms of power and torque produce, 2-stroke engine are more efficient than 4-stroke and it produce the same power as that by 4-stroke engine if their size are same in half a time. While in terms of fuel consumption, 2-stroke engine are less efficient than 4-stroke engine. 2-stroke engine exhaust more pollutant than 4-stroke engines. Why petrol engine compression ratio is low when compared to diesel engine? So we all know petrol engines compression ratio is low, so compared to diesel engine. So why? So with increase in compression ratio, thermal efficiency of the engine always increase. So increase in compression ratio, thermal efficiency of the engine always increase, but in spark ignition engine, the knocking tendency also increase with increase in compression ratio. So remember, in SI engine, the knocking tendency also increase with increase in compression ratio. So the reverse is true for compression ignition engine. So compression ratio is kept low for an SI engine as compared to an CI engine. So because of what is the thermal efficiency. Now, why tires are black? Why tires are black? So due to carbon content. So due to carbon content, the tires is black. What is the critical temperature of a substance? So we always heard this critical temperature. So what is the critical temperature of a substance? So the critical temperature of substance is the temperature at above which vapor of the substance cannot be liquefied. So that is called critical temperature. Vapor of the substance cannot be liquefied no matter how much pressure is applied. So in any pressure, and the critical temperature means vapor of the substance cannot be liquefied. Next one, what is the difference between stress and pressure? So we will see, pressure represents intensity of external force acting at a point, but stress represents intensity of internal resisting forces developed at a point. So this is the first difference. Pressure represents intensity of external force acting, and the pressure represents intensity of the external force acting at a point, but stress represents intensity of internal resisting forcing develop at a point. Pressure is always act normal to the surface, but stress may also act either normal or parallel to the surface. Magnitude of pressure at a point in all directions remains same. Magnitude of pressure at a point in all directions remains same, but magnitude of stress at a point in all directions are not same. Okay, what is the difference between scavenging and supercharging? So you know scavenging, we have already discussed scavenging and supercharging. So scavenging is process flushing out burnt gases. Flushing out burnt gases from the engine cylinder by introducing fresh charge. So, and the supercharging is the process of supplying higher mass of air by compressing the atmospheric air. So remember, this is the key difference between supercharging and scavenging. What is caustic embrittlement? What is caustic embrittlement? So it is the actual physical change in metal that makes it extremely brittle and filled with minute cracks. It occurs particularly in the seams of riveted joint and around the riveted holes. Now, what is the DTSI engine? So you know this is the term DTSI. So DTSI means digital twin spark ignition. Digital twin spark ignition. What type of boiler does not need a steam drum? What type of boiler does not need a steam drum? So supercritical pressure boiler. Supercritical pressure boiler does not need a steam drum because this is the supercritical pressure boiler. Why boilers is purged every time before starting firing of fuel? So remember this purged. So purging ensures that any unburnt fuel in furnace is removed, otherwise it may lead to explosion. So that's why purged every time before starting firing of fuel, because purging ensures that any unburnt fuel in the furnace is removed, otherwise it may lead to explosion. Okay, next one. What is the difference between pipe and tube? So pipe are measured and sold with inner diameter. So pipe are measured and sold with inner diameter. Pipes are used to transport fluid like water, oil and gas. But tube are measured and sold with outer diameter, not inner diameter. When pipe is measured and sold with inner diameter, but tube are measured and sold with outer diameter. Tubes are generally used for structural purposes. So remember, tubes are generally used for structural purpose. So this is the also important questions for interviewer. What will happen if reciprocating compressor run in exactly opposite direction? So remember, what will happen? Reciprocating compressor run in exactly opposite direction. So no change in working because motion of piston is unaffected with direction of rotation. What is the difference between safety valve and relief valve? This is the also key questions. What is the difference between safety valve and relief valve? So a safety valve is control mechanism that release the pressure when it crosses a set threshold and then reset back to the original position. We all know safety valve. So the valve on a pressure cooker or autoclave where you want to keep the contents at under a specified pressure. But a relief valve is a relief mechanism to instantly relieve the pressure that is triggered in extreme circumstances when the pressure has suddenly exceeded. or is approaching failure criteria for the system itself. Next one, what is the key difference between supercharger and turbocharger? So supercharger and turbocharger. The supercharger will take its power from the crankshaft, when turbocharger will draw power from exhaust gases. So this is the key difference between supercharger and turbocharger. Full form of CNC and VMC, we all know: computer numerical control and vertical machining center. So remember, computer numerical control, CNC. So don't say computer numerical control. CNC means computer numerical control, and vertical machining center. The condition that causes vapor locking in a brake system. So vapor locking, why vapor locking in a brake system? So overheating of the fluids due to frequent brake application. So that's why brake fluid change from liquid to gases. So becomes vapor locking in a brake system. So overheating of the fluids due to frequent brake application. The portion of crankshaft which rests on cylinder block. So that is called main journal. So the portion of a crankshaft which rests on cylinder block, that is called main journal. Under Lewis gear design, tooth is considered as what beam? So tooth is designed considered as what beam? Cantilever beam. The function of an alternator in an automobile is to continually recharge the battery. We all know alternator work is continually recharge the battery. What is the flash boiler? So a flash boiler is a type of water tube boiler. The tubes are close together and water is pumped through them. So remember, what is the flash boiler? Flash boiler is a type of water tube boiler. The tubes are close together and water is pumped through them. How many type of gearbox are there? List them. So how many type of gearboxes? So there are 4 types of gearbox: sliding mesh gearbox, constant mesh gearbox, synchro mesh gearbox, and planetary gearboxes. So this is the 4 type of gearboxes. Now this one is the another important question. States Newton's 3 law of motion. States Newton's 3 law of motion. So first, the law of inertia. Every object in a state of uniform motion tends to remain in that state of motion unless an external force is applied to it. So this is the law of inertia. Acceleration is produced when a force acts on a mass. The greater the mass, the greater the amount of force needed. So force time acceleration. And third, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So this is the third law of motion. Who invented the 4-stroke engines? According to you, which one is more efficient, 4-stroke engine or 2-stroke engines? So this is the repetitive questions in the interview. Who invented the 4-stroke engine? And according to you, which one is more efficient, 4-stroke engine or 2-stroke engine, and why? So Nicholas Otto invented the 4-stroke engines. So remember this name, Nicholas Otto. Both 2-stroke and 4-stroke have their own advantage and disadvantage. So let's discuss. 4-stroke are more fuel efficient. We all know 4-stroke are more fuel efficient, when 2-stroke produce more power. Okay. Next one. What do you understand by the concept of 6-stroke engine? And explain how it works. So remember, here is said, what do you understand by the concept of 6-stroke engine? And explain how it works. So the 6-stroke engine is based on the concept of 4-stroke engine. So base is concept of 4-stroke, but built with an intention of improving the efficiency in reducing emission. Every cycle of 4-stroke engine involved the upward and downward movement of the piston, which happen twice in the chamber, resulting in 4 total stroke, and one of which is the power stroke, which provides the torque torque to move the vehicle. Okay, but in the 6-stroke engine works similarly except that there are two power stroke. So in the 6-stroke engine there are two power stroke. What is torque? Very important. What is torque? So torque is the force that causes rotation. Torque is the force that causes rotation. It is a measure with how much force is acting on an object making it rotate. So remember, it is the measure with how much force is acting on an object making it rotate. What is the difference between torque and power in the vehicle? So what is the torque and power? So while power determines the speed of the vehicle, so torque is different and power is different. Power determines the speed of the vehicle. Torque determines the time in which that speed can be reached. So the greater the torque figure, the faster the acceleration. The more torque in the engine, the faster you accelerate. So power is the rate at which work is done. So it is basically the potential of the engine. Why do heavy vehicle use diesel engine? Why do heavy vehicle use diesel engine? So the compression ratio of diesel engine is higher, we all know, than the petrol engine. The reason for producing higher torque, the efficiency of diesel engine increase with the load. So diesel produce low energy on burning of fuel and the efficiency of the engine increase with load, which is why diesel engine is suitable and largely used for heavy vehicles. So again we have to read, because the compression ratio of diesel engine is higher than the petrol engine. The reason for producing higher torque, the efficiency of diesel engine increase with the load. Diesel produce low energy on burning of fuel and the efficiency of the engine increase with load, which is why diesel engine is suitable and